The first homework exercise for this week is about well-formed formulas and sentences, so the structure of sentences in SL. And what you're asked to do is, given a sentence, you're asked to identify the main logical operator. So if we look at this long, ugly sentence, it's got a lot of symbols in it, but notice the square brackets group that part together, and the second set of square brackets group that part together. So the main logical operator is the biconditional. So we write in the biconditional, and Carnap then splits the sentence into two parts. On the left-hand side, we have the left-hand side of the biconditional, and on the right-hand side, we have the right-hand side. So it splits the biconditional down into two parts. This part, the left-hand side, is a disjunction. So we type in the disjunction symbol, and Carnap splits it again. And now notice it's highlighting this part in red. That's the part that we're looking at, the P arrow Q. What's the main logical operator there? Well, it's just the arrow, the conditional. That breaks down, P arrow Q breaks down to P, it breaks down to Q, two sentence letters. Now, the highlighted part is this, not P arrow R, and the main logical operator of that is the negation. The negation is working on the whole thing in parentheses. So we enter negation. It splits it. So we just P arrow R, where the main logical operator of this P arrow R is the arrow. And now Carnap's highlighted over on the right-hand side, where the main logical operator is the disjunction. And now it's turned green. That means we've broken down the whole sentence into its atomic parts. We've gotten to where we've figured out the structure of all of the different connectives, and it's ended up with just the atomic sentences, P, Q, P, R, M, N. And now we'd submit it. If this were the homework, I'd submit it and I'd get credit for it. The point of this exercise is twofold. One is about recognizing the main logical operator of the sentence. So if you start with a whole sentence, how does that fit together? What's the main logical operator of it? And once you split it into sub-sentences, what's the main logical operator inside the sub-sentence? So at the big picture level, this first sentence was a biconditional. It was an if and only if. The right-hand side was a disjunction, M or N. The left-hand side was also a disjunction, where the disjuncts were complicated things, P arrow Q, not P arrow R. But it was a disjunction there on the left-hand side. And then that broke down into other pieces. So that's starting at the top, you recognize the main logical operator, and as you do that repeatedly, you eventually get down to the sentence letters. When you do truth tables, which you'll be doing for the second kind of homework exercise this week, you're actually working in the opposite direction. When you do a truth table, you start with assignments of the truth values for the atomic sentences. So on a particular row of a truth table, P, Q, R, M, N would all get assignments of 1 or 0. And then I could calculate the disjunction, M or N, on the basis of that. I could calculate the conditional, P arrow Q. I can calculate P arrow R. But I can't do not P arrow R until I've done the P arrow R part. And then I can't do this disjunction until I've done the two disjuncts, the P arrow Q and the not P arrow R. And then I can't do this whole thing until I've done the two disjuncts before it. So the very last thing I'll calculate when I do the truth table for this sentence, if I were to do a truth table for this sentence, would be the biconditional. So I'd start with the sentence letters and move my way up the tree until I got to the final, the whole sentence, where I put together the truth value for the main logical operator of the whole sentence. So when you do this first exercise, you'll learn to think about the structure of sentences. And the point of that, beyond just understanding how sentences work, is that it also allows you to think about the order in which you'll have to do the columns of truth tables. Okay, As always, if you have problems, reach out and ask for help. There are study sessions throughout the week, as well as the forum, and I'm available by email.